Did you know that America experienced a series of earthquakes so powerful they made the Mississippi River flow backward? No, this isn't a disaster movie plot. It's a real historical event, and the seismic zone responsible is still active today, quietly lurking beneath the central United States. This is the story of the new Madrid Seismic Zone, America's sleeping giant. Back in the winter of 1811 and 1812, life in the central Mississippi Valley was shattered by a sequence of violent earthquakes. This wasn't California. This was the American frontier, a region most people thought was geologically stable. The first major shock hit on December 16, 1811, just after 2 in the morning. Imagine being jolted from your sleep, your log cabin shaking so violently it feels like it's about to collapse. The ground roared, and giant cracks opened up in the earth. People reported seeing strange lights in the sky and smelling a foul, sulfurous odor. Church bells, as far away as Boston and Charleston, reportedly rang on their own. Eyewitnesses described a scene of pure chaos. The ground swelled up and down in waves, some said as high as a person. Trees were thrown to the ground and riverbanks collapsed into the churning water. One of the most incredible accounts is the temporary reversal of the Mississippi River. The immense force of the quakes created uplift in the riverbed, forcing the mighty river to flow upstream for several hours. Giant waterfalls were created where none had existed before, and large areas of land sank into the river, forming new lakes like Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee, which is a permanent reminder of this cataclysmic event. And it wasn't just one quake. Over the next 3 months, the region was rocked by 3 main shocks, all estimated to be well over magnitude 7, and thousands of aftershocks. The strongest of these, on February 7, 1812, destroyed the town of New Madrid, Missouri, for which the seismic zone is named. The ground liquefaction was so extreme that sand and water erupted from the earth in what are known as sand blows, covering vast areas of farmland and making them unusable. Miraculously, the death toll was low, primarily because the area was so sparsely populated at the time. But the sheer geological power was on a scale rarely seen. So, what caused these monster quakes in the middle of a continent? Far from the usual tectonic plate boundaries like the San Andreas Fault. The answer lies deep beneath the surface in a hidden ancient rift system. About 600 million years ago, this part of the North American continent started to split apart, but the process failed. It left behind a zone of deep, buried faults, the Reelfoot Rift. Today, stress from the movement of the tectonic plate is being concentrated along these old, weak fault lines, building up pressure over centuries. The 1811 to 1812 earthquakes were the dramatic release of that accumulated stress. This brings us to the big question. Could it happen again? The short answer is yes. The new Madrid Seismic Zone is still one of the most active seismic zones east of the Rocky Mountains. Scientists monitor it closely, recording hundreds of small tremors every year. These tiny quakes are a constant reminder that the fault system is alive and storing energy. Geologists estimate that the probability of a magnitude 6 or larger earthquake occurring in the new Madrid zone in the next 50 years is between 25 and 40%. A repeat of the 1811 to 1812 magnitude 7 events is considered less likely in the short term, but it's a long-term certainty. The cycle of pressure buildup and release is ongoing. Now, think about what would happen if an earthquake of that magnitude struck today. The central U.S. is no longer a sparsely populated frontier. It's home to major cities like Memphis, Tennessee, and St. Louis, Missouri. It's a critical hub for the nation's transportation and infrastructure. Highways, bridges, gas pipelines, and electrical grids all cross this region. Unlike California, where strict building codes have been in place for decades, many buildings in the central and eastern U.S. were not designed to withstand strong seismic shaking. A major New Madrid earthquake could be one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. A FEMA report projected that a 7.7 magnitude quake could cause widespread and catastrophic damage across 8 states. They estimated tens of thousands of casualties, the collapse of over 700,000 buildings, and immediate economic losses in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Essential services like water, power, and communications would be knocked out for weeks or even months. The damage to bridges crossing the Mississippi could paralyze the country's transport network. So, what can be done? Preparedness is key. At the government level, this means updating building codes, retrofitting critical infrastructure like bridges and hospitals, and developing robust emergency response plans. Organizations like the Central U.S. Earthquake Consortium are working to coordinate these efforts across state lines. But personal preparedness is just as important. If you live in or near this zone, it's vital to have a plan. Know what to do during an earthquake. Drop, cover, and hold on. Have an emergency kit with water, food, a first aid kit, and other essential supplies. Secure heavy furniture to walls to prevent it from tipping over. The new Madrid earthquakes of 1811 to 1812 are a powerful reminder that catastrophic geological events are not confined to the distant past or distant places. A sleeping giant lies beneath the American heartland, and while we can't predict exactly when it will wake up, we know that it will. By understanding the history, acknowledging the risk, and preparing for the future, we can reduce the potential for tragedy and ensure our communities are resilient, enough to withstand the shaking when it comes again. The ground beneath our feet is not as solid as it seems. And the lessons from over 200 years ago are more relevant today than ever. Thanks for watching. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the powerful forces that shape our world. Stay safe and stay prepared.